Welcome back, everybody, for Game 2, or should I say Series 2 tonight. We have Team Flash taking on 𝗬𝗀, the reigning champions, against the new kids on the block. My name is Everyday. With me is Yulwei. We do have a bit of tech issues at the moment, so that's why there's no cameras on screen. I do apologize. It's my fault. But Yulwei, what do you think of this series?
This one is the real old against new, because, of course, OPG is a new team, but most of the players played in VGA last season. So we actually knew 𝗧𝗲𝗺, we knew PHT, and, of course, 𝗧𝗲𝗺 came in halfway through the season as well. So those players were known to us. Now we see a completely new team in 𝗬𝗀. Of course, some of the players changed rosters as well, but we have a lot of newcomers, so I'm excited to see what they can bring us. And there's one player who's hyped by many, who was picked up first yesterday by one of our analysts in our little prediction game. He's called 𝗀𝗀𝗺, and a lot of people think he's the new prodigy to enter the league.
Wait, no, it's 𝗬𝗂𝗇. 𝗬𝗂𝗇 is the big hype, right? No, it's 𝗬𝗂𝗺. No, of course. 𝗀𝗀𝗺 is very, very hyped. A lot of people have a lot of faith in that man in the mid lane to be the big dog. And this is a test for him. 𝗏𝗏 on Flash, of course, has always been able to contain explosively skilled mid laners. Will 𝗀𝗀𝗺 be able to get out of containment?
I mean, we can hope so. In the 𝗙𝗺𝗺 Cup, 𝗬𝗀 went 0-3, but the stat lines for 𝗀𝗀𝗺 do not read like his team went 0-3. He had insane numbers. He even played against 𝗬𝗺 in one game and outlaned him on Akali. So he's another Akali player. All the Akali players today, very exciting. So yeah, I feel like he can definitely grow into something very special. My personal prediction would be that this season is not the one where he can shoot for the stars, where he can go for the title. I feel like this one is just to present himself on a not so great team. There's some of the players for 𝗬𝗀 might not be VCS ready. I'm looking at bot lane and top lane mostly.
Yeah.
But if he can present himself, maybe he can get a spot on a different team or upgrade this roster in the next season.
Yeah, very possible. Of course, you do have to consider there are some good players on 𝗬𝗀. They picked up a few players that are very exciting if we look at their roster. But of course, you're up against Flash. They're the reigning champs, and they're the reigning champs for a reason.
Yeah, and Flash made some interesting roster adaptations. We, of course, saw them in the mid-season showdown, it was called, PCS against VCS, where they made the finals and took a game of dominating PCS champs Talon. So they look decent. They've made some very exciting changes in the bot lane. 𝗬𝗶𝗆, the best support in the league, in my opinion, I'm standing by that, is gone. And instead, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, his direct competitor, is now on Team Flash. The synergy between the bot lane was a little bit iffy in those first few tournaments, but we have to cut them some slack because they only played like 1 or 2 weeks together. So the synergy now should be way better. But they also have picked up a new mid laner in 𝗏 for some reason. And their sub-jungler, Ego, a solo queue god, is actually now starting in more games. So some adaptations there, and Flash is not the same Flash that won the finals anymore.
It's true. They're very, very different. And I think Flash has to kind of prove that the roster changes were valid. I question it. Is Yulwei, you all right?
Yes, everything
your
okay.
Discord. Sorry, your Discord is looking a little suspect. So, but let's talk about Flash. Who are you watching in particular? Hopefully not 𝗏. Hopefully we don't get to watch.
Hopefully not 𝗏. So I think there's one outstanding player, of course, on Flash. In my top 10, if some viewers read that list, he was number 2 with some aspirations to get to number 1 as well. 𝗬𝗏𝗏, the star ADC player, the best ADC in the league, and we are in an ADC-focused matter. So this should be his season to shine. He's now a champion of the VCS. The only thing left for him is to get to be the best player of the VCS, the MVP, which he hasn't achieved so far. So I'm definitely keeping all my eyes on the bot lane, especially as 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is a new support as well. He's supposed to upgrade the communication, and let's see if their macro is going to get better. Because macro in VCS against PCS tournament was very, very suspect. Their closing of games was not the greatest. They threw so many early game leads, which they actually were able to get even against PCS teams.
Yeah, you can say that again. It was incredibly suspect. And as we are heading into pick and ban, it is the two 80 carry bans, 𝗲𝗲 and 𝗪𝗏. 𝗲𝗲 is not going to see any play in the VCS, is he? And Nolzid. Cool. Thanks everyone for watching tonight. I'm gonna head off. You guys have fun. I don't want to watch Nolp. No, I'm joking.
Please stay. Please stay.
No, I'm joking. I don't want to flame him that hard. It's a bit mean. I don't understand the logic from Team Clash. I don't get it. Maybe they'll prove me wrong and they'll prove me silly, but to me, you just downgrade. I don't get it.
Yeah, 𝗏 plays a very different style of game, of course. He's much more lane focused. His champion pool is much more shallow compared to his to the rookie in the mid lane 𝗏𝗏𝗺, who has shown us a variety of styles, and his best was to facilitate his very strong side lanes. So I don't really like this roster adaptation either, but it seems like scrims have gone 𝗏's way, so we need to see what he can do on the stage, right?
So something I do like is bringing Ego in. They want to give Ego time, and I like that. Give him some stage time. He is the solo queue prodigy. A team like Percent is the kind of game to bring him in, especially in a game 1, right? Bring him in, maybe he pops off, get him some experience. That'd be great. Unfortunately, I think they're scrimming in mid-jungle pairs.
Yeah. Well, let's look at the actual draft happening on screen right now, because there are some very big differences already to our first series. We have 𝗏𝗏𝗺 open, 𝗬𝗏 once again not prioritized, but 𝗧𝗏 first picked, and I had a little bit of a spiel there on my hatred for 𝗧𝗏 first or early in the draft, because I really don't think 𝗧𝗏 is that great if you pick him early. He struggles against big front lines. He sometimes fails to have an impact if the enemy team can draft accordingly. So this 𝗧𝗏, it's Ego, so he has probably played a lot of 𝗧𝗏s in solo queue. I'm excited to see what he can bring, but a little bit worried for Flash first picking 𝗧𝗏s.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I like setting Ego up for success, as they have also picked the 𝗬𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏. It was the opportunity to pick 𝗬𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 and potentially go for the Team Rocket comp, which suits 𝗏. He does love the Zoe, but they just chose not to.
So 𝗏𝗏𝗏 seems to be... Yeah, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 has probably dominated some scrims here, because 𝗏𝗏𝗏 has had such a high priority in all the games so far, and in the first 3 and the first series, and now picked up in the first rotation over Uni as a support. Can, of course, still be flexed in either mid or top lane, so possible. Both Stark and 𝗏 could be players to pilot the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 and take a little bit of backseat. I especially like 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Yeah, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 mid jungle synergy is actually very nice. Buff up the 𝗧𝗏 with early 𝗏𝗏𝗏 damage as well. She has very cheap itemization, so you hit your 2 item power spike very early on. It's the first 𝗬𝗏𝗏 of the night, and we get to see the best 𝗬𝗏𝗏 as the first 𝗬𝗏𝗏, which is nice. Some Slater impressions. He had an incredible 𝗬𝗏𝗏 game in PCS v VCS. Did he get a Panther or Quadra? I'm not sure.
He got a 1v4 Quadra.
Yeah, it was insane.
It was game-changing. For sure. As Twisted Fate and Galio will be removed, the mid lane pool being targeted by both teams. So they're not reading that as a mid lane 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Perhaps they know something to do.
And interestingly enough, looking at the players playing in this game, Jungle is now actually more experienced on the side of the new team Percent, because they are not starting their rookie jungler 𝗀𝗏𝗃, or who is now renamed to 𝗃𝗏𝗃. Instead, they're going with Eagle, who was formerly known as a Meowcon. So it's the older one of the two junglers. A little bit more stability, maybe not quite as high highs, but this is now the time to style on some old people for Ego and really show the world what he's made of.
Absolutely, he wants to come in and crush the boomers. As I will just say, I pressed the wrong button, my mic was turned down, that's why I was quiet, so don't change anything. my fault. As Zoe is the lock-in. That is that's a pick away from 𝗏, as well as just being good in the composition. But Yuumi secured for 𝗏𝗏𝗏. He loves this pick. And, ooh, okay. That's a 𝗏𝗏𝗏 champion. I think he's just hovering it because he likes 𝗏𝗏𝗏. I don't think this gets locked in.
We are playing on turn 12, so it's actually not bad. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 has had a lot of changes, of course, with the rework, but then also a lot of hotfix buffs and follow-up buffs in the next patch. And he's now sitting at an above 50% win rate. Yeah, it's more likely to go on, though, because I think once we will see 𝗏𝗏𝗏 in due time, but probably as a counter pick in a very good matchup, not as a blind top lane champion. That's very unlikely.
Absolutely. And 𝘲𝗏 being hovered, and of course looked very good in Game 3 of our first series today. And it's a good pick here. There's a lot of good ults to steal. So, it would make some sense. And there's the lock-in. That's for YT. I'm kind of throwing down the gauntlet, saying he's going to dominate top lane. It's not easy into 𝗏 though. 𝗏 can kill 𝘲𝗏.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan here, because this goes back to my point of Grace and how he struggles to kill front lines, because he does not have the reliable DPS that other ADCs bring. So picking a double front line into Grace is actually very strong, and I would have liked to see just a tank as an answer. We've seen some Maokai into 𝘲𝗏. You can play Sion if you want to. Sion is actually absolutely uncontestable for Grace. He can never get through all the HP. So really not the biggest fan of the carry top laner. There's a lot of damage on the side of %. And I would say actually not very mid lane focused. The Zoe more of a self-sufficient champion for glory. So
yeah,
not quite the draft I was anticipating.
I actually kind of feel like they drafted themselves into a little bit of a hole, as they didn't want to let the Team Rocket comp happen. They didn't want 𝗏 to get his Zoe, which is fair enough. If you're drafting against 𝗏, that's like the only thing you have to think about. Is probably don't really have Zoe. He's one good champion. But it means that Glory's not on something he can sort of solo carry on. I'd love to have seen him on a Rise, which to be fair was banned. Could have been picked in the first round. Was banned, or at a 𝗧𝗲 or something, and give him a front line. Instead, they've kind of just said, all right, Glory, you lay down the poke, and it's gonna be Big Koro who needs to put the big boy pants on.
So in looking at the two team compositions, I actually feel like Team Flash have put together a very cohesive, a very strong comp with very clear points as to where they want to play through, what positions they want to prioritize. They have carries in ADC and jungle, a lot of facilitators in the other three roles, super strong 5v5. And early on, Grace should run wherever he wants with 𝗏𝗏𝗏 as a support backup. So very cohesive composition. On the other side, % has just picked very strong champs. They have a very strong top laner. They have one of the best junglers. They have one of the best mid laners right now. They have Ophelia Thresh, so potentially the number 2, maybe number 3 bot lane right now. The cohesion and the composition is not quite there for me. I personally am not the biggest fan of Zoe Aphelios. I feel like you want to give Aphelios a little bit more to work with, either with something like 𝗏𝗏𝗏 to give him shields, or a secondary carry to also contribute a little bit of damage and get a little bit of focus from the enemy team on yourself as well, like a 𝗀𝗀𝗃, like a 𝗧𝗲, so the enemy team actually has to worry about 2 different champs.
Yeah.
Team fights are looking very much in favor of Flash here, in my opinion.
I agree. But that said, if YT can get off to a good start, and if he plays safely, 𝗏 can't deny him a start. He'll be okay in that lane. He probably won't like hard win or anything, but he'll be fine. If YT can get off to a good start, you can't ignore a 𝘲𝗏𝗏 in a fight. He will just rip you up, and it can make it kind of hard to get to the Aphelios. They don't have great dive.
I feel like they kind of can just kite the 𝘲𝗏𝗏 and kill him first, because the 𝘲𝗏𝗏 cannot really cut through shields and heals from both of them.
2 items for Aphelios. Do you have time to kite the 𝘲𝗏𝗏𝗏 and kill him first, or will
I think so. Aphelios struggles to fight into Ezreal, into 𝗏𝗏𝗏, because those have more range than he does. So if he ever gets close, he can definitely shred through everyone. But can he ever get close? That's the big question. And Aphelios, yeah. So, and the jungle start was actually interesting. It's a 3-buff start for 𝗀𝗀𝗃 here. They invested a lot of vision and early attention to give him the enemy red buff, but also placed a ward spotting a potential invade on their red buff. So now he got both of the red buffs. That's a very comfortable start for the rookie jungler. He's up. Oh, he actually didn't take the red buff. So he's looking for a refresh on that one once his first red buff expires to go for a level 5 lane gank potentially.
That's very bold. Yeah, super bold. A bit of a solo queue strat, honestly, which makes sense. Ego, just to reiterate, he is a solo queue star. I think he was at 1300. We'll have to come back to it. Stark gets caught. He's caught by the chain, the pillar. He tries to use the enemy terrain, flashes, and Ego's here. And now they can turn it around. Eagle going low. They've called in a teleport, but bang!
There we go.
The shotgun rings out, and Glory arrives far too late. Hardly a glorious entrance. And it's a first blood for the jungler of Flash, Ego. Well, hopefully that one will pump his ego up.
Yeah, what a perfect opportunity for 𝗀𝗃𝗃, who struggles to find early ganks, even with red buff, because there's no CC in his kit, other than a blind. So the best thing you can do as 𝗀𝗃𝗃 is to counter gank, and perfect opportunity for him there. He was full HP, just went on Eagle, double buff against not a double buff on the side of Eagle, so it's a very easy execution there. And he gets a super great start. He's now 2 camps ahead. He got a kill. Can clear the second red buff whenever he wants. He still has 4 camps in his own jungle, so level 6 is not far away for this jungle.
Absolutely not. And he refreshed his blue buff as well. So now he's got buffs for a very long time because he got Eagle's buffs. As I was saying before that kicked off, he is a solo queue star. Sorry if there's a bit of stutter on stream. That's actually on the source stream. The frame rate is suffering a little bit. Sorry if that translates over to ours. Hopefully that gets fixed shortly. But as I was saying, Ego, I think he was at 1300 LP on the Korean ladder. So Korea is obviously the most competitive solo queue in the world. And he had 1300 LP in Challenger. Like, this guy, he's a solo queue monster.
Yeah, he's clearly mechanically gifted. We saw a glimpse of his what he can do in the PCS VCS tournament, where he was starting in some of the games. He had an okay performance, I'd say. Not the end, not outshining Heejin from start to finish, but definitely looking promising. So I can see why they want to start and train up Ego. I'm a little bit confused as to why this team is picking up so many new players, because they just won a split. So it's really not on them to improve.
Just to cut you off while the stream is crashing, chat did correct me. It was SOFM that was at 1300. Ego is about 780. My bad.
Fair enough.
That's still ridiculous. That's still very good.
Also, do you have to take into consideration that SOFM is playing from a better ping, because he's, of course, not in Vietnam, but actually in China somewhere. So
I mean, it's also not particularly surprising that SOFM is a little bit higher ranked than a rookie jungler. SOFM's in the LPL. As the stream continues to crash a little bit, come on, VATV, you can do it. I believe in them.
There's not much happening on stream right now, so it's not the worst ever. We can talk. Oh, Ego is going for a very aggressive dragon, but Eagle is here. He's 1 level behind. Ego, half HP against the dragon. Null getting close. Yeah, this should be an easy dragon take. Does Eagle have anything to say about this?
He definitely does, as Eagle is dead, and they get the dragon. That's
Now 𝗏𝗏𝗺 is dead too.
Yeah, 𝗏𝗏𝗺 died. I'm not sure what.
This is something we have seen in the aforementioned tournament as well. 𝗏𝗏𝗺 tends to die a lot in the early game on Yuumi. Most of the time it's actually due to misplayed 2v2s, where he goes super aggressive in the trades and then gets caught by 1 or 2 CC spells and realizes Yuumi has a very low HP total, so he just dies.
Not the lowest in the game, though, for some reason.
Nope.
Apparently Sona really needs to be that squishy.
Well, I mean, you actually nerfed her.
I know. I'm more saying that Sona shouldn't be that squishy.
Yeah,
Sona is a glorified minion when it comes to health.
She is.
Oh my!
So far, the jungle has been very horrible for percent. The jungler is getting trucked here. Let's look at this again. Eagle, he's dancing.
It's exciting. What's gonna happen? Come on,
Yeah,
Stream.
you can see the bot lane just reset. So bot lane for the side of Flash is way closer. And of course, Yuumi can go over the wall if Ego is close enough there. So there we go. Eagle still tries to go for the steal. Actually smites for health, but still dies. Another kill over to Grace.
That was
and
actually really horrible.
𝗏𝗏 misses
Eagle.
his Q here to go for to go back into the jungler. He tried to be too much of a support there. Okay, we are jumping. 𝗏𝗏 wanted to go and block the Q from Lisa and also the bubble, but instead he was just caught and his jungler actually lived. So a little bit of a misjudgment there by 𝗏𝗏. Not quite as big of a misplay as we've seen sometimes on the Yuumi.
This is
Double
sorry,
kill,
just
nice.
Trying to just deal with these tech issues a little bit. They do throw a few spanners in the works, but we're doing our best. Let's kind of slow down and talk about the impact that this jungle destruction has had. This stream just dies again. Come on, I believe in you, VTV.
I didn't die on my end.
Oh, okay.
Well,
it's just like got the little circle coming up.
Fair enough. So, as we can't really tell what is going on anyway because of the many delays, let's just take the time to resync really quickly because there's not much going on. 9:20 for me.
Okay, we're still synced.
Okay, we should still be in sync, so that's good news. Sorry, everyone, once again. This is a little bit unfortunate for the first day, but it seems to be getting a little bit better. So let's focus back in. 10 minutes in, a Flash with a minor lead. Not the worst, but Ego.
They have a massive gold lead in the jungle, though.
Yeah, it's to be expected in this matchup, though. They actually opted into Trundle against Grace, which, of course, in the 1-1 is a very bad matchup for the Trundle. And he failed his first gank, gave over a kill to the Grace. So the perfect start. Ego couldn't have wished for anything better. So it's a good start. The rest of Percent has been able to keep up with the lanes of Flash, which is a good thing. They are playing against the champions here. So not something you would expect every day for a new team.
Except look at the champions, right?
Yeah,
Flash has not picked let's smash lanes.
Yeah, that's
They've
a very
got
fair
an
point.
Ornn, Karma, and Ezreal Yuumi.
And
if Percent were losing these lanes, I'd be really concerned.
That's a very fair point, especially also if you go back to the scaling discussion, which we had at the start. The onus is on Percent to make something happen. The team composition of Flash is very straightforward. Their 5v5 potential is very, very good. So it's definitely on Percent to accrue a little bit of a gold lead to be able to win team fights later on and close out the game. There's a very big CS disadvantage in the top lane, which I'm not sure why it's there. And we might have a fight here. Double on ult available.
I think we definitely might. As you said, there is a lot of horns that could be blown, but it's a 3v2 at the moment. Glory is the first mid laner to make their way up. Flash might be overstepping a little bit as the Silas horn goes. Ego just gets absolutely deleted. Very, very well executed by Percent.
1-for-1.
Traded back, but it's a support for a jungler, and the Rift Herald will go to Eagle. Really well played by Percent. They knew who to target down and executed it perfectly.
And Flash actually double lost here in this trade because they actually gave up a lot of plates in the bot lane as well. It's the typical misplay against Aphelios, where if you leave your bot lane to go for the Rift Herald bargain, you will lose a lot of platings. And they left the bot lane too late to really contest and still left the turret open for the Aphelios to mine some gold. So double mistake in terms of macro for Flash. Not the greatest call ever. They get another kill. But this opens up second dragon as well for Percent, who have stabilized in this game a little bit more, and Bikuro got accelerated.
Yeah, for sure. So far, this is a good fight back here from Percent. You said it before, and I kind of tempered the point a little bit due to the lane matchups. But other than the jungle, this is going pretty well for Percent. Again, it probably should, but the fact that it's happening against the champions of the spring split is a good sign.
Well, top lane is not really going their way.
That's how this goes, then. That's the matchup.
They had last pick counter pick into Ornn, into a team comp that already said, okay, if they get a strong Ornn here, it's probably unbeatable. So I'm not too happy with this outcome. Even if this is how the matchup goes, maybe you should have just picked a different champion.
That's very true. I don't think you needed to pick the 𝘬𝗲. It's not like you were lacking AP damage. Here's the fight, and as we can see, 𝘬𝗲 has to flash away. Don't think he actually had to, but he did. A bit of a questionable flash, not going to lie.
A very questionable flash, but this is also a very questionable positioning here for Ego.
Yeah, he's deep. He could potentially get caught. 𝗬𝗃's on full health. Oh, misses the chain, though. Collateral.
The synergy was so off there. Oh,
yeah,
no.
that was very not good.
Yeah, they actually both. If one of them had decided to not do anything, they would have actually caught him. But both threw their skill shots, and because both threw their skill shots, both kind of missed. So the synergy not showing so far for Percent's top side.
Need to clean that up just a little bit. We do have to wonder how much scrim time Eagle is getting versus the other junglers. We don't know. We have no idea. Yeah, 𝗧𝗲𝗺. Thank you. I forgot what he'd renamed to.
Too many renames. So
there are so many renames. They're all so bad. Why are they all bad? Really average name changes.
They have the eye, so this should be a very easy turret. Not the biggest fan of using the eye in bot lane, but there's a play happening. A lot of
teleports coming. The Ornn horn's been blown. It's not redirected, though. 𝗬𝗃 still has that collateral damage, but I think Percent just wants to get out, and they do manage that. So nothing really lost from Percent. Just a few resources from Flash invested, but in the end, both teams get out, and the eye is not dropped. Ooh, okay, that was just expiring. Fair enough. I thought that was a real Graves ult for a second, but no, just 𝘬𝗲.
So in the end, nothing really came from this play. Glory got a lot of damage on this turret, so now it actually opens up the mid-turret Herald spawn, which is way more valuable anyway, so I think you should go for that. And immediately, Eagle is making a beeline for mid lane. This is now the first turret dropping for Percent in mid lane, so good adaptation. This is how they should have played this in the first place, so... Yeah,
gold on Glory as well, which is a good sign. That's where Percent wants to put their gold. It is their best player. So.
It's traded back, of course, in the bot lane, but it's still a way more valuable turret. And the bot lane turret, if they ever get the push or ever get a little bit of alone time for 𝗏𝗏 in the bot lane, is still very vulnerable and super low. So that's a little bit of standing gold still waiting for them to collect it there, down in the bot lane.
Absolutely, and I'm just fixing something, so I'm a little bit distracted, but we're okay. There's no big team fights happening. I don't need to do my yelly thing. As 𝗬𝗃 has caught up in CS, as Stark went for the roam. Of course, it is worth talking about Stark. He's still here, the man that wants to retire. They keep pulling him back in.
He's not allowed to. They actually picked up another top laner, the first ever import, but he is not allowed to play either, so Stark has to continue playing. We of course hope 𝗬𝗏 will be able to join us later in the split. I wish him a good recovery. He's still a little bit, not a little bit, actually very sick. So yeah, let's hope for the best for him. Absolutely. Stark, of course, won the title again, so he's still a strong top lane, especially... Oh, never mind. 𝗏𝗏 is getting caught.
Here we go. 𝗏𝗏 absolutely is caught out as Eagle ults him, but Karma speed is pretty good, it turns out.
Yeah. He used the slash as well, and 𝗬𝗃 once again not able to connect his chain. This time around, of course, flashed, so not really on him. They get another flash, and this turret now open for the taking, as I talked about earlier. Well, the next wave should be enough to lock this one down. Mid lane is now a little bit of pressure for 𝗏𝗏, for the side of flash.
I've just heard something break in my house. I'll be right back. I'm very sorry.
Oh, no. Okay, that's fair. So, let's see. There is the fight brewing in the bot lane, and there's the engage. 𝗏𝗏 flashes away, but this is not good enough, though. He's caught. And there we go. He's dropping down. The next one to fall is 𝗎𝗏, who flashes away as well. A little bit of on-the-fly play-by-play. Can we see the re-engage from %? They steal away one on ultimate, but this shouldn't be enough to turn the fight. So very easy third dragon, or second dragon for Flash, of course, picked up. Ego wants to contest. He's 2 levels down, so probably not the wisest decision. And they back off. Immediate ping on the second Rift Herald, so Flash really wants to accelerate this game from the 1 kill on 𝗏𝗏𝗺. He will spawn soon, but not in time to contest this one. Also, some of the players on % caught a little bit off guard by this very fast movement and still in the bot lane. So 2 objectives for just 1 kill on the side of Flash, who are starting to run away with this game, and their scaling is already superior. So 2k gold lead at this point, with on items coming in soon, with the team composition having more cohesion, this is already looking like a very solid first game for our champions, and playing it textbook style, slowly, but very secure.
My apologies, I am back. There's nothing too serious. Just Rakan knocking something over as the tower goes down. Speaking of which.
Yep, the tower goes down and stop playing as well. And in the bottom.
So I missed a little bit of the game, which gives us a chance to just catch us up on the map state. What is going on? What are the next steps for either team here?
So the last few minutes, both teams have actually just avoided the fight mostly. We had one nice engage for Flash that got 1 kill and 2 flashes, and 2 objectives afterwards. But mostly teams have just been pushing side lanes and trading turrets. So gold is a little bit accelerated, but now Flash is hitting some of the power spikes. Look at the items. 1 item for Yuumi, almost 2 items for Ezreal completed. We have the first item for Karma. That is actually a very confusing item choice, but whatever. And Ornn has hit his 2 items as well. So they are very close to really, really hitting their big power spike, especially if Ornn hits level 13 before the next fight happens. % right now, in my opinion, can't look for a fight.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Do they have a point where they can start looking for fights? Obviously, 𝗙𝗃𝗺 is 𝗙𝗃𝗺. At some point, you can play around him. But with an Ornn on the side of Flash, who I think is just going to have a little bit more impact, maybe not direct impact, but will be able to stop a lot of % from getting onto the backline. Like, how do you kill Slater? How does he ever die?
That's a very good question. That's why I really like this team composition. They have 2 designated the damage dealers, 2 ADCs, and then a lot of supporting stuff with frontline and 2 supports. They can also contribute a little bit of damage here and there, especially the Karma in the mid lane. But yeah, looking at the other side of the coin, % has one of the strongest 2 1-item power spike champion in Zoe. So if they can look for a bubble here and find something, also 50% crit for 𝗏𝗏𝗺, there's the possibility of blowing someone up. So that is there.
But it looks like Flash are the ones on the front foot here, as they just throw in some damage just to guarantee the second charge. They invested 2 ults to get a second charge. That's probably worth it. You don't really need those ults.
Ego was close to going down there. He had no flash available and barely was able to step out of range of Lisa's grab. Lisa could have... If Lisa landed that grab, I think Ego goes down. Then maybe they have a chance to even snowball that into a bigger fight victory.
I'm not going to lie. Having Eagle versus Ego in the jungle...
Oh, no.
When your co-caster has a slight accent... I was really confused. Eagle dodging Lisa's oh no, you mean okay.
Ego. Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. You didn't name him. It's just the whims of fate making it hard for us casters. But so far, it has been a restrained game. So far, what do you think of the comp Flash is running player-wise? Has Gnarl and Ego sort of justified themselves?
I mean, to be honest, mid lane doesn't really do much here. This mid lane is just to clear waves. So whoever plays this mid lane is not going to shine in this team composition. It's really not there to show off the great mid laners Flash has picked up. So it's much more about Ego. They invested a lot of time or a lot of pre-game to plan for him to have success in the jungle matchup. They invested double wards and invaded late to get him another buff. he played a very nice reactive game early on, and he counter-ganked 𝗙𝗀𝗀𝗆's first gank to get a kill. So, I think 𝗙𝗀𝗀 has presented himself nicely. It's not like the most crazy jungle performance ever. I feel like he's playing fine. So, 𝗏𝗏 so far, just looking like a very calm and collected team. And
well,
speaking
as
of that,
you say it, they go in. They saw Eagle step too far forward, and they clipped his wings, brought him back down. YT goes very, very low from the two-shot barrage. Glory. Oh, nice. Glory is glorious as he blows up 𝗧𝗲. Apparently, that's how you get to him. You just hit him as Zoe. Absolutely one-shot the 𝗬𝗏𝗀𝗀. It's a jungler dead for percent, though, so they can't take the dragon off the back of that. But it's a big kill for sure.
Yep. And we have to call it later here. Double summon is available. You should be able to dodge that. Maybe I relied a little bit too much on his supports, but it's not over yet. Glory with another bubble.
Ego's been caught here. Glory once again showing why we hyped him up, as he's just got another bubble, set up the kill for YT. That's a jungler dead. Can they go to Baron? Yes, they can. It's the gun check-in, and he's got the chakrams. They could Baron if they want to.
And they have another smite on Glory.
Here we go. They're doing it.
Glory wants to teleport back in to be full HP.
That makes sense.
Do they die to 𝗧𝗏 here? 𝗧𝗏 is super tanky.
𝗧𝗏 Q gets into his charge, got interrupted here. YT going forward. They're trying to hit him down. Ooh, with the Moonlight Vigil missing, that's a bit of a danger situation. But Glory hit a bubble, which 𝗬𝗏 translated into a hook. 𝗏𝗏's in a lot of trouble. 𝗬𝗏 might get traded. I don't even think he will. As 𝗧𝗏's gone down, YT found him off the damage from Glory. And now it's only 𝗧𝗏, and he's by himself. Well, he's got Paulette, I guess. He's got his pet cat, but I think that cat is going to get out of there. But another bubble hits. It doesn't matter because he's untargetable. You love it.
It's insanity. They're just stomping 𝗏𝗏 in team fights back to back to back.
Glory is smurfing.
Glory is a very good player, as we all know. But also, YT actually playing this Sylas very, very well in the team fights. He has gone with the aggressive Sylas build. A lot of cooldown reduction, a lot of mana to be spamming his abilities all the time, and even pen boots. So he's a full-on carry and played this team fight incredibly well. Once again, 𝗧𝗏 looking a little bit sus in the last team fight. So let's keep our eyes on 𝗧𝗏 and how he dies here. I think he gets caught by... Yeah, he's frontlining, which is fine in this composition, honestly. The bubble hits 𝗏𝗏, so now 𝗧𝗏 is kind of exposed. Both his supports are not with him. So now he's just stabbed.
My God. He went from full health to dead in...
Yeah, I mean, he stepped into 4 people. it's true. Probably not the best thing to do there.
Yeah, so
every single bubble he can hit in the fight, so very impressive there.
𝗧𝗏 is looking tired almost. He's a bit slow today.
Definitely going to sleep way too often in this game. That's for sure.
That's true. Glory is the true resident sleeper, as he's putting everyone to sleep in this game. This Zoe is looking fantastic. Vinnie absolutely beaming at this game. We miss you, Vinnie. Please come back.
Yeah, the Madman first picked Glory in his for this week. Like, yeah, they are only playing 1 game against 𝗏𝗏. Are you serious?
What do you mean for this week? You keep your draft for the whole split.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
He just loves Glory.
Yeah, the first pick in our draft is he picked him.
Yeah,
the Madman picked Glory.
He picked Glory over D1.
So far, it's looking great for him. 106. They are still behind in gold, actually. 𝗏𝗏 also hitting some Ornn items, so it's by no means over. They are still favored in team fights. The last 2 looked a little dicey, and 𝗧𝗏 needs to step up his game here. He's one of the main carries of the team. He's the most consistent damage in this team composition. As I said before, Graves has a lot of damage, a lot of burst, a lot of upfront first 2 seconds damage, but then kind of teeters off, right? There's not much to follow.
Yeah, this is actually kind of a hard one to call. I still think extended team fights go the way of 𝗏𝗏. I don't think we've hit the 𝗬𝗏𝗀𝗏's point yet. What do you think of the Triforce over Iceborne Gauntlet this game? I think Iceborne Gauntlet's a tied out. Yeah,
It's
that's
because
true.
of the solo laners. You never go Iceborne Gauntlet into double AP solo laners. It's a little sad because you want the kite, but it's a lot of wasted stats,
It's true.
especially because you also have an on. So he would upgrade Iceborne Gauntlet. And Iceborne Gauntlet upgrade is one of the best in the game, especially for Ezreal. It gives you 60 armor and 200 mana, so insane
That
amounts of
nearly
tanking.
hit. Sorry, that bubble was alarmingly close.
Yeah, bubbles flow a long way for no
Yeah.
reason whatsoever. It's Mountain or Mountain Rift also. Mountain Rift is very nice for Zoe. One of the big champs that profit from Mountain Rift. She doesn't really care about Mountain Drake or Mountain Soul, but she really likes the Rift because there's more terrain to extend bubbles and hide from. So very nice for Zoe.
Yeah, it's very true. Can definitely do a lot of things with walls. Let's do a bit of a check-in because I believe 150 years have passed of game design because 𝗙𝗪𝗺 has 3 items.
There we go.
The Runins, the Phantom Dancer, and the Infinity Edge.
Why is he scaled up? Hasn't really done much in this game.
Hang on a minute. Have a look at Slater.
What's going on?
Look at Slater.
Oh, Slater! What is going on?
Slater! Okie dokie, he reads that there's no tank. No one's building armor. He's wondering where 𝗧𝗲𝗺 is. He's saying, I've got his Duskblade. Where is he?
True.
Come back, son.
That is such a cool adaptation. I've seen this build mostly normals from time to time. It gives him a lot of extra damage, of course, and it's especially nice because Ego has built Black Cleaver. So Black Cleaver is going to cut armor down, then your Ductor extra 21 armor shred. Okay, he's probably at like 16, 17 at level 12. I'm not quite sure about the lethality numbers there. But let's say 15, 16 armor shred is on top of that. You can actually burst the core down very easily. Autoed Q, ult from Ego, followed up by Slater Q.
It's a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage.
Speaking of damage, Stark is just dead.
Yeah, Stark just insta-died. That's an Ornn. Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Trundle.
So Flash has not learned the biggest thing about this game so far. They can't engage.
No.
Stark has no follow-up. Everyone in their team is built to kite, and then they have a big tank in the front line to buy time. But if they engage with Stark, enemy team will just focus Stark down, as we see, and all the other members of Flash's team are like, yeah, we would like to help you, but there's nothing we can do. And this might just be the end of the game.
Ego's just been caught out here. It was such a good start. They clearly had a set game plan for Ego at the start, and it got him ahead, but now that he's kind of had to adapt to the game as it runs, it's not working for him. He's not done a huge amount with his lead. He's just been caught a few times. And %, they've taken the gold lead, though it's still close, but they've got all the momentum.
And this game is very interesting to watch because it's a composition we see a lot in other regions, in better regions, if you don't mind me saying that. And it feels like Flash has picked up on some of the global matter, but it's not quite sure how to play this game because this composition is very defensive. It's not very VCS style. It's very about kite and dodge, smoke and mirrors in the team fights, wait for the enemy team to do something, then counterattack with Ornn ult. Instead, they just use Ornn in his traditional way of engaging, but then there's no follow-up, so he just dies in the front line. I really think Flash has not figured out how to play this composition.
Yeah, and you've also got to consider the fact that hook goes out. Null, he's trying to get away and does manage to. Mr. Wiggly Arms won't find him. Yeah, the bubble lands, but there's a lot of shielding, so he's okay this time.
I mean, you say he's okay in terms of HP, but look what was used there. Slater used Cleanse. They used ult shield for Null.
Slater did use Cleanse. I didn't catch that. My word.
Now
but we'll have to come back to it as there's another Ornn horn being used. Eagle trying to kite away. Silas horn blown. The horns of revolution.
There's nothing happening.
Whoa! The spaghetti chain. YT did not think that was going to hit. And he goes very low.
Yeah, look at this attempt from Flash again. They've tried to engage again. They need to acknowledge that they can't engage this game.
No.
It's so useless. Stark used his ult, he even hit some people, and then, no one was there to follow up. No one can jump in. Graves is not strong enough anymore to go into the front lane as well, especially into such a strong 𝗙𝗀𝗀𝗻 on Aphelios. So Flash really needs to sit down for a few seconds and acknowledge the fact that they have to play this game differently.
Yeah.
Something I want to talk about as well, go back to the 𝗧𝗲𝗺 point. So Slater went for lethality in a game where the enemy team is sitting on 2, potentially 3 Mountain Drakes.
That's true, actually.
That's not great.
A mistake. Yeah, I said it that, well, there's no one that's really going to build tanky except, I guess, Trundle. Though, again, Trundle mostly steals tankiness. But even Silas, just building the Zhonya's, like, yeah, that's not a huge amount of armor on its own.
Yeah, look at Aphelios too.
But when there's Mountain Drakes, Aphelios is going a Death's Dance. I feel like that Duskblade isn't
actually completely useless. It's completely useless. It's disgustingly useless.
Baron, though, is taking a lot of damage. It was a damage check that got very close to being a DPS race.
Yeah, they got the teleport for both top laners there. Not quite sure why T needed to teleport immediately. I think he could have hold off his teleport a little bit longer, maybe try to punish the side lane when Stark teleports in. They were a little bit scared of the engage,
And inside track, they are doing a bit of damage. Stark now has been caught. He's very tanky and he goes gold. He should be able to get away as Eagle is stealing those stats, but the Troll King does not get in. Glory is doing so much this game. Has he missed a bubble? I haven't seen him miss.
He has played a very, very good game, but now it's more, the light will be more on 𝗙𝗻𝗀𝗻 for the late game carry.
Absolutely.
Zoe can carry late games. She's, of course, still a very strong champ, but her DPS and team fights can be a little bit lackluster, especially against a big front line on the other side. So now it's on 𝗙𝗻𝗀𝗻 to take over. He got what he needed. He got a lot of time. He's close to 200 years, and he will be able to carry this game once he hits 4 items.
I mean, he's already doing a lot of damage. We really just need to see Glory setting him up. Just dealing enough damage that 𝗙𝗻𝗀𝗻 can shut it down. He doesn't have the best guns right now, and there's so many Rams. We are in the absolute Ram Ranch, but it's the Silas Horn that knocks up 4, and there's an instant kill onto Ego. He is definitely not having the best game for his Ego, as he's been really shut down after that initial very good start. The jungler's dead. We should be able to see the Mountain Soul being secured. Ooh, Moonlight Vigil completely whiffs there. That's not good at all, as they still are on this dragon. Glory wants to TP in. The final chapter is you. Stark going forward. Lisa very, very low, as is Eagle, but 𝗙𝗻𝗀𝗻𝗃 hasn't been touched. And go the chakrams. He's doing all the damage. It's absolutely disgusting. He's on to Stark now. A good knock up. Glory goes gold. Can they find it? Yes, they can. 𝗙𝗻𝗀𝗻𝗃 proving to have been a very big pickup. As he carries another team fight, they get Mountain Soul, and % are looking like they might take a game off our champs.
Yeah, absolutely. And dominating fashion after this early game, they have not looked back after the first teamfight victory they got like in 18 minutes. I'm not quite sure about the timer. But since then, this has been pure domination. There isn't even one thing that has gone well for Flash. Even it was the 4th Drake, I think, was stolen away by Eagle after Ego actually hard out-jungled him in the early game. Well, once again, we get a look at Grace and how utterly useless of a champion he is.
I mean, you're looking very smart with the Graves is bad point.
He's 120 CS ahead of his enemy jungler, but Trundle has done so much more in this game than the Grace.
Yep, it's not even particularly close. So let's have a look at this replay. We started with, look at that. That hit all 5, because it technically hit Yuumi.
Yeah, the Ego dies very early on. Slater can't really do much. He doesn't have the chase potential that Iceborne Gauntlet Ezreal would have, so he can't really jump forward. Null needs to cleanse himself, so there's not much Flash can do. They call another engage here because they see the Zoe disappearing, but of course Zoe has teleport, and they should know about that as well. Also, very good flash from 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏, as you can see there. He flashed the engage from Stark, and now, yeah, he's on the best two weapons. He's full HP. This is a slaughterhouse for the 𝗏𝗏𝗏s.
We come back to live to a Baron being burnt down. No white gun for 𝗏𝗏𝗏, so it's not actually super quick. There's the Ornns coming out once again. You love to see it. Stark gets caught up. He's not that tanky because of the Trundle, and he just dies. Baron should be following him to the grave.
Oh, that was close.
Not the cleanest secure there, as that had steal potential. But it was not stolen. It was secured by %. And they are looking absolutely radiant in the last 15 or so minutes of this game.
What an insane performance from this newest team in the league. No one expected them to win today against Flash. I actually predicted 2-1 for Flash and thought that was a very bold prediction, giving them a game. But in this
Flash
fashion,
game 1.
It is Flash for game 1. That is very true. They are also playing in a very suboptimal lineup. Maybe the macro has not looked too great, so we might get to see our actual champion team play in the next game with Yijin and Carti.
Am I allowed to speculate a little bit while we've got time?
Go ahead.
I feel like they've been scrimming with this 5, doing a set play in the jungle like that. And then the enemy team's just been like, game's over, GG, next scrim.
Yeah.
And now they're like, oh, well, we're winning all our scrims. And it's like, well, no, you won the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I have
to do past the 15 minutes. Like, Ego, again, he's a mechanically very good player, and he hasn't been bad, but after that initial set play, he hasn't done anything.
I also feel like they've been scrimming with teams from other regions, where especially PCS is known for their more slow play style. This team comp looks very much like a PCS team comp to me. Very slow, very front to back, with a lot of disengage, very strong carries, but you don't really look for explosive fights. And they've been playing this like a VCS team, which does just not work with this team composition. Stark has actually played a good game of On. He won his lane very hard. But he's just been punished over and over again by % because no one can follow.
But there was also the self-counter pick. They picked Ornn into Trundle.
Yeah,
Trundle just clicks R on Ornn. Like, that's all Trundle has to do. Press R on Ornn, makes you a huge tank and makes him squishy. They picked into that. It's not always wrong. Ornn is obviously just a very good champion, but it's still something to consider. Flash, you need a new coach. I'm sorry. You won the split. Fair enough. But God, your drafts suck.
I can't agree with that statement. I actually think this draft is pretty good. It
doesn't fit their play style, evidently.
That might be true.
The champions are fine, but they're not playing it well.
Yeah, that's an aspect of coaching as well. That is very fair. The early game planning looked great. I actually think the first 20 minutes were very promising, very slow, very collected. Very calm, but afterwards they've just been.
Stark is taking a lot of damage, but he's a tanky boy with that gargoyles. That is a disgusting amount of help. But look at the damage.
Oh my God!
Just going forward, he's ripping them apart, doing so much. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, it's not fair. It is not fair. And I think Flash might be saying the same thing as their base is getting ripped apart. The Nexus is exposed. And % will continue the win streak by the new teams in the VCS as they take game 1 over our spring split champions of Flash.
Oh, I'm blown away by this performance. % looked incredible. The early game wasn't great. Eagle made a few crucial mistakes. The early gank in the top lane, not the greatest, but afterwards they didn't really commit many big mistakes. Some maybe here and there they could have been a little bit more decisive. I think the first Baron, they could have actually just stayed on Baron and took it. But in the end, it's better safe than sorry. So fair play to them. They're a new team. They don't want to lose of a big throw in the first game, of course. So I'm very, very happy with this new team and both new teams showing up today and making the league even more competitive.
So I wanted to, we have to think about an MVP, but you can think about it because I want to say one thing. because I know what our community is going to say, and I've been guilty of it in the past. That wasn't 𝗀𝗁's fault.
Yeah,
that
absolutely
game
not.
didn't matter if it was 𝗁𝗃 or 𝗀𝗁. He was on the karma. He did what he could. He just cleared waves. That's
As I
not
said
on
earlier,
𝗀𝗁. You can't sit there and say it's 𝗀𝗁's fault.
No. There was Karma had no agency. She was just there to support. She actually had less agency than even Yuumi, in my opinion.
Mhm.
She was just there to press R and E and run around. Maybe bind someone here and there too. So definitely not 𝗀𝗁's fault. So
I'd still like to
be
see
too harsh on
𝗁𝗃 and Yejin back in, to be fair.
Absolutely.
I'd like to see the actual championship roster, but we'll find out. Do we have an MVP? I think there's two candidates. Do you pick 𝗏𝗏𝗺𝗏 because he did all the damage at the end, or do you pick 𝗀𝗁 because he did everything? I know where my vote is.
Yeah, I think it's 𝗀𝗁, even though 𝗏𝗏𝗺 played a very good game as well, played conservatively in the early game, and then popped off when it was his time to shine. The game was won a little bit early, in my opinion, so yeah, I feel like 𝗀𝗁 was the first MVP, but big shout out to 𝗏𝗏𝗺 as well on his new team.
Absolutely. So with that, we will be back in just a little bit, about 8.5 or so minutes for Game 2 of 𝗏𝗺 taking on Flash. Will the Spring Split champions bounce back, or is it a high percentage chance of an upset? We'll see you very soon, guys. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. 𝗏𝗺, the Kingslayers have taken Game 1 off Flash. Can they make it 2? Really confirm the kill, overthrow the Empire, at least for a week? What do you think, Yulwei? Are they going to do it, or will Flash bounce back here?
Man, it's hard to call. Flash, of course, didn't play their main roster. Their main jungler was not in. Their main mid laner was not in. So
𝗏𝗁 played more at the mid-season than 𝗁𝗃 did. Maybe he's
point,
just,
but they
maybe
actually
he's
tweeted. They actually tweeted out that they will put in their main roster, and then 𝗁𝗃 was playing. So I think he's still considered the number 1 mid lane choice. Hopefully,
you'd hope so.
I would hate to see him not be considered the number 1 mid lane choice. 𝗏𝗺 look great. I am very impressed with them. Especially also, I want to shout out the bot side this time, because we talked a lot about 𝗀𝗁 in the game. But the bot lane did well into 𝗧𝗏𝗺. That is supposed to be the best bot lane of the league. And of course, they played Ezreal Yuumi, so not the most active bot lane ever. They still got outperformed even in team fights, and especially 𝗧𝗏𝗏 today, or in the first game, was shown his place by 𝗏𝗏𝗺. 𝗏𝗏𝗺 outperformed him big time.
Yeah, God, yeah. Absolute destruction. 𝗀𝗁 getting the official MVP as well. Well deserved. As I said, Big Coro definitely pulled his weight and about 1 million other tons. It was just really super. It was just really good out of 𝗀𝗁 and Big Coro. Both of them looked amazing.
Absolutely. And we're heading straight into draft for Game 2. We're a little bit behind the schedule, so makes sense. And 𝗏𝗺 is on blue, while Flash is on red side. Once again, 𝗏𝗏𝗺 is getting banned. We see a lot of priority on the ADCs, and actually another Karma ban, even though Karma didn't really do much on the last game.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of denying the style. But still, it is interesting. This 𝗲𝗏𝗺 𝗏𝗏𝗺 will be banned. 𝗏𝗏𝗺 is gone.
Last time we saw Grace first, but Grace didn't really do much. We also have no idea who's actually playing in this game. Looking right now, there is Flash. Can we actually spot some players? Let's see. It's hard to say right now.
Yeah.
Nope. So we'll have to wait for the nameplates to actually see which roster is in. But the 𝗁𝗃𝗺 ban indicates to me that 𝗁𝗃 is actually playing. And I think I just saw 𝗁𝗃 and Yejin as well on stream. So this will be the main roster for Flash. The Game 1 Flash memes are still alive. Now they're actually reinforcing their own memes by just playing the not so great lineup. But they have to win this game. If not, they will just fall down 𝗏𝗏𝗺.
Yeah, and it is Yejin and 𝗁𝗃 confirmed with nameplates. Very good to see. As looks like 𝗏𝗺 want the Ezreal this time. The 𝗏𝗏𝗺's ban, they say, okay, fine. You ban the 𝗙𝗃𝗺𝗃 this time, we'll just take the Ezreal, push you down onto a second string ADC. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yep.
Do Flash take the Yuumi just to deny it? Because Ezreal Yuumi is still on the table.
I don't think so. The first series, teams really didn't value Ezreal Yuumi at all, so I feel like VCS teams haven't... Oh, this is the classic counter pick from LPL. Interesting one. But let's go back to the Yuumi. Yeah, I feel like Yuumi will be left open, so instead we have 𝗂𝗃 and most likely Nautilus as an answer. Nautilus is also very good.
Just want to say, Beast, you've got Slater as your AD carry, and I'm against you this week, and I used my ban thing on his 𝗂𝗃. Get wrecked. You are getting wrecked tonight, my friend.
Easy prediction, though. Easy prediction.
I'm not saying it's not, but I still did it. And the Nautilus to go along with it.
Yeah, they played this, of course, in the last few games of playoffs, where they shifted their style to a very heavy bot lane focus. But we see something that we don't see ever in any league across the globe. Syndra falling down to second rotation. That is incredible. Syndra is almost always banned or first picked, but instead she's now locked in for percent.
Absolutely, and they're hovering with Leona to just counter the Nautilus. That makes sense. You running Yuumi into the 𝗂𝗃 Nautilus lane is pretty scary. You can die very easily. Leona is a traditional counter to Nautilus, so that makes sense. Though, of course, you do just lose the raw power of Yuumi.
Leona is also quite good into 𝗂𝗃 later on in the game, where usually 𝗂𝗃 can dive behind your tanky support and maybe even single him out, but Leona has a lot of CC to just stun her repeatedly. And 𝗧𝗃 also open. He was actually first banned blue side in the first series every single game. This time around he's picked it up.
It actually surprised me, because I don't think 𝗧𝗃 is that strong anymore. He's a good support. I actually don't think he's great anymore. He's fine, but he's not that good a top laner anymore. He loses a lot of matchups.
Yeah, and he has risen back.
He's never been that good as a jungler.
He's played a lot in jungle in western regions, not so much in eastern regions so far. So let's see if Yijin wants to try his hand at jungle 𝗧𝗃 and follow into the footsteps of players like Trick over in EU, or if they want to put him on Star.
I think it has to be jungle. I think 𝗧𝗃 top is really bad now. I think it's just...
We still see it from time to time. It's risky though, especially because Wukong is still open. Wukong is very good at it.
Yeah, we see a lot of things. We see Graves, after all, which doesn't actually work out. But 𝗀𝗏 banned. I just want to take that away. Interesting. Do you think... How do you think these drafts are going to round out?
Very hard to predict. The Lee Sin ban against Eagle, after he showed absolutely no interest in picking Lee Sin in the first game. The Flash is clearly going somewhere. They have a lot of CC and good follow-up. It's a very ADC focused comp so far. So they could build something like Galio is of course banned, so maybe go...
Lissandra, man. That is a Carti
Yeah,
champion.
That makes a lot of sense as well. Lissandra is actually a very good option here as well. They need to find a different facilitating mid laner for Carti. Maybe they'll just go a little bit of team fight. Orianna comes to mind. Very strong champion right now. Think Orianna and then you go Trundle on the jungle. Oh no.
If he goes Orianna.
Oh no.
If he goes Orianna and I get the double ban against Beast. Mwah. As Graves is the pick for Yijin. He had some fantastic performances on it in the Pulsefire Cup. Of course, there have been a patch or so since then. And Graves, it's not been the best, honestly. We keep coming back to it. Maybe Yijin will prove us wrong. He is a very good player, of course. Best jungler of the split, last split.
Absolutely. Ranked 4th on my list.
Yep.
I'm excited what he can do. There's the Wukong. I really like this. This is a very strong matchup for Wukong into 𝗧𝗃. One of the few melee top lanes that can actually win against 𝗧𝗃. But instead, it's actually going to be Nautilus mid lane and 𝗧𝗃 support.
I like this pivot.
Yeah,
I like this pivot a lot. Carti likes the Nautilus mid. I'm not 100% convinced by 𝗏𝗏's Nautilus mid, honestly. I think he's going to struggle into Glory Syndra. But getting set away from that matchup, it had to happen. This was the correct response, I think.
A lot of gank assists and early skirmishing power on top side for Flash.
Very
true. I think they will this time around try to fight a little bit more with the Grace early, because last game they got an early advantage. They got 2 kills on Grace. They got a counter kill in top lane and a big early CS and experience lead, but couldn't really transition into making skirmishes happen with this very strong early game champion. At least level 60, it's a big power spike. So I feel like this is better for the Grace with a lot of CC setup from top and mid lane to really try and accelerate Grace and the Renekton as well.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely possibilities here for the Flash comp. I still think it just isn't a super cohesive comp in my mind. Cohesive is the wrong word. It's actually very cohesive. It's a team fight comp. It's a very good team fight comp. But how do they win lanes?
Yeah, I'm very interested in the top lane matchup. I haven't seen too much Renekton Wukong. I feel like Renekton is probably still going to win early game, as his trade patterns are a little bit easier to execute. But in my opinion, there will be a time in the game, maybe after level 7, level 8, where Wukong actually starts to win the top lane matchup with all the free armor he gets and all the free life regeneration. He should be able to sustain the first burst trade and then come back at the Renekton and actually win extended fights. So that's a very interesting matchup for me. Mid lane should be early priority over to Syndra, but she has to be careful to not step into a trap on the side of 𝗏𝗏, who has a lot of CC. And bot lane should just be, honestly, bot lane is just a handshake lane, in my opinion, here. So top side is more exciting.
So we do have the phase rush on the set support. That's actually pretty interesting. We often see the Omni Stone or the Aftershock. The phase rush is mostly a jungle rune. It's generally not played when he's in the lanes, which is, so it's interesting. 𝗏𝗏, obviously, he's a good player. He knows what he's doing. But it kind of tells me they want to fight because he wants to chase down.
Yeah. I've seen this before. It's really not for lane most of the time, as you said before. You don't really do much on lane with a set on phase rush, but it's very strong for early skirmishing, especially at the 8-minute Herald swap. He can get very weird angles with this very speedy set. He's probably going for all the speed runes as well. So approach velocity, you're going water walking and celerity, or one of the two. So a lot of speed in this kit for him. So you can get to the backline a little bit easier than you normally can on this champion. But he is a little bit squishy in trades, and that is quite dangerous into Leona, of course. Ignite, exhaust on the bot lane for percent, so it's basically a kill lane here.
Yeah, that's no heal. He's bold.
And we've seen this transition a lot from Ezreal players. Ezreal players actually favor the exhaust because it's a little bit more agency in late game, and they heal anyway, as we see.
So yeah,
level 2 trade.
Yeah, so Renekton wins early.
I mean, he's a level ahead too, so
had to get a level ahead somehow, didn't he? Actually,
fair enough.
Kind of bullying here, Stark, very early on, showing why he's the suitable successor for Yoshino. Well, not successor, replacement for Yoshino.
Hopefully not the successor.
Yoshino is his successor.
He is. So let's follow the jungle route. We haven't seen as big of a setup for Yi Jin as we saw in the last game for the side of Flash. Trying to invade this one, but Eagle is here. That is so unfortunate. But now,
that's
Yi Jin
pops up the pillar, does get the chicken, but with 𝗏𝗏 coming over, I think the Eagle just wants to walk away, gives him the thumbs up, and Eagle comes out ahead there. He got the camp.
So for anyone who didn't notice what Eagle wanted to do there, he wanted to hide in the brush and smite away the camp, but wait until Yi Jin gets a little bit lower and then attack him. But sadly, the camp does actually ignore vision and attacks you if you're closer. So he stood a little bit closer, and the chicken just turned around and gave Eagle's position away. He still gets more out of this trade than Yi Jin did. So he's now 8 CS ahead on a matchup that should never be ahead. So very good start for Eagle once again on the Trundle.
Absolutely, and to see Yijin doing the farm jungle thing of just running straight through mid lane, saying, I don't care if you know where I am, I'm going to get the crab. As
top lane gang.
comes Eagle. Will he make it his troll kingdom? YT doesn't have much mana. He's kind of already used his spell. Start trying to get away. Flash, but flash to flash. There's a slow from the chomp. Can he get the last bonk? He definitely can, as YT invested his flash just to make sure. And that is first blood for %. They're off to a good start.
Nicely done. Sadly, the kill didn't go to YT, but a little bit of extra gold on your troll is very nice for the early game as well. Boosts your early skirmishes, especially when he hits Yijin somewhere in the jungle, so he can actually fight back in a matchup that is usually not super favorable for the troll. So very nice start for %, and they get the early game. 2 games in a row now. We have to follow early trends for this team because we don't know them well. 2 games in a row, early top lane gang. So that's an interesting trend.
It definitely is. Partially, I think it's just been circumstantial. Stark was very pushed. That was a pretty easy gang. And also, you're not ganking the spot lane.
Yeah, that is very fair. 2 Ezreal lanes. Okay, we have a big fight though in the bot lane.
Coming in, Big Koro does well to escape. The teleports are coming in. Slater incredibly low, but so is Lisa, and they will get that kill onto Yijin. That Graves getting a bit of gold. Can they get anything back? I don't think they can. They just don't have the CC. So it's a 1-for-0 in the bot lane as the party started. Someone dropped the disco ball because, again, party in the bot lane.
Yep, there we go. Interesting engagement, Palette. He actually got the face breaker on Big Koro, but I don't think it stunned him, did it? We have to see that again.
He buffered the E, I believe.
Yeah. I think he got out. So the flash engage from Palette didn't hit, and they still get the kill. That is very good news. Of course, they invested at teleport for Carty here, so he had to make it work. Yeah. Glory also teleported down. So in the end, it's just an overall win for Flash, who also claim the gold lead back. They are now 100 gold ahead and get the first drop on Dragon. So just a nice little turn for Flash in the early game.
Yep, absolutely. And this will not be a contested Dragon. % doesn't really care. It's just a Mountain Drake. Let that one go. They've rotated Slater to the mid lane. Just going for, I guess, the early swap to play around Herald. No. Or just
that's just a very typical swap when your solo laner TPs to bot lane. Your bot lane resets anyway. The solo laner will push out the bot lane because he invested time and resources to get there. So give him all the solo XP and gold, and let your ADC go to the solo lane first, clear out the wave there, and then reset the waves. So it does not hurt the solo laner too much. Because if you don't do this, please in solo queue also try to adopt this as much as you can. Because if you don't do this swap, your solo laner will suffer a lot from his TP. Especially in this case where Carty didn't get the kill.
I knew that. I just wanted to explain. Obviously. I do that in my solo queue. I'm like really good. No, I'm really not. But looking at the top lane, after the early action, it is still Renekton with a farm lead. The gold should be mostly even. In fact, it definitely is if you look at the items. Due to the assist. Renekton has a bit of a lead, but it's all good. And we go back to a bit of a quieter situation, at least for now.
HP pool is a little bit of an issue there for Wukong. Wukong can trade in short trades and stack up his passive to like 4 or 5 stacks, and then heal back up with his percentage health regeneration he gets. Against Renekton, the trades are never worth it because Renekton heals himself too, so you can't really go for trades. Can't really go for extended fights either because Renekton has this R button that gives him a lot of extra HP. So yeah, he's just trying to scrap together a few CS here and there, not fall too far behind.
He also has got the Cutlass, so it looks like he's going Bork, but we'll have to come back to that as there's the Flash ult. And okay, it's just a Flash. All right. Nothing really happening there except for the Flash trade. Both solo laners just pressing that button. Does mean, of course, that Nautilus will be able to set up a play with the next ult cooldown, and Glory won't be able to flash away. What I was saying, Wukong is going towards the Bork, something that LPL Wukongs haven't been doing. They haven't been building Bork. They've all been going Triforce.
I've seen it once or twice, I think. So, yeah, I really don't see why you would go Borg in this matchup. It makes you very volatile in team fights. So it can win you this matchup, but if you ever get ganked, you instantly die because you don't have any HP to work with, and your team fighting will be a little bit worse. So
actually interesting because Renekton isn't going Borg.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, Renekton going for Black Cleaver, which makes a lot of sense. Actually opens up your Graves to not go Black Cleaver, so that's very nice. Graves could seriously look at lethality here.
He's got 2 longswords.
So,
like that,
those are probably
that's probably for the jungle item, but it could be for a Dirk. It could be.
It could be.
Let me dream.
Unlikely though. I hope we see a few Dirks because it doesn't really make sense.
You're just on my back this game, hey.
I'm sorry.
It's alright. You should be. I'm an idiot.
It's your choice what you're talking about. It's not my responsibility.
There's Eagle. Has a look at the top lane, but says, "Oh, no thanks." Oh, but Stark goes forward. He doesn't have the escape now. There's the Cutlass slow. The Cyclone is used. He's just turning all the damage back onto YT, though.
Oh,
it's not going to be enough. As Stark goes down, YT picks that one up. It was mildly close, but in the end, he gets away just fine. But Flash says, "Oh, well, you killed our top laner, but we're still just going to take the Herald."
Yeah. The swap was a little early. 𝗬𝗀𝘀𝗵 once again missing out on the swap, and Yijin picks this up cleanly. But now Lisa is looking for a counter engage.
Ooh, that they are. There's a good face breaker. Yijin super low. He's just insta dead. Did manage to get the Herald, of course. So, but they die for it, and Glory just died to Slater. Replay.
Not sure why. No flash.
Give us a replay. Yeah, I think maybe he just got caught by Carty. I didn't actually see who got an assist. So.
Yeah,
I imagine it was just
all-timer.
Yeah,
all-timer.
Yeah. It's just a Nautilus ult, probably into the Slater ult, which is also on cooldown. Yeah. Probably not a lot Glory could do there.
That's fair.
The first
should have probably positioned himself a little bit more defensively when he sees everyone in the river there. Maybe give up a few CS here and there. So a bit of a misplay. Maybe you get to see how he in fact died.
Yeah, here we go.
Cleared out the wave.
Oh, okay, that's unlucky. That's unlucky. Nautilus.
Oh man,
I hate this champion.
So much. Yeah, who doesn't? Honestly, who doesn't?
Who likes Nautilus at this point?
Yeah, freaking Nautilus abusers in solo queuing.
That was
this hitbox, man.
Fair. I see in our Discord, nice hook. No.
Nice hook.
No, it wasn't.
Hook was 30 meters longer than normal. It's just to hit the champion, as it always does. Yeah, not much Glory could have done there. He actually backed off very early after the wave, so I think he played this mostly correct.
Yeah, it was just that was just
try to anticipate. Yeah,
stuff happens.
So what are we looking at? Percent with a slight early lead, but they have lost the first dragon, and there's another
but here
fight.
We go. Praise the sun. Leona Rolt is in. Carty is just caught up and sent to the depths. Good riddance. And now the Drake goes down. What rift are we going to? Continue your streak. Come on.
Cloud.
All right. He's called the Cloud. What is it going to be?
Nope.
Ocean.
Nope.
All right. He's not continuing the 100%. He's still positive, though. Just keep in mind, he's still positive.
Still one more game, potentially, to go. Get it even more positive. But I'm not the biggest fan of the decision there for YT to commit his teleport. He gave up a lot of gold. 2 platings over to Stark. Gave up a lot of... Yeah, I agree. They probably wanted to go for a bigger fight, but then called that off, and he can't cancel anymore. So that feels bad for the Wukong, who's now a level down compared to Stark. Stark is probably sitting on even more gold than he does, because he got platings, he got a lot of CS. So Wukong probably needs a little bit more help, even though they already ganked twice for him.
I mean, he's also already got his Bork. He's behind by a bit, but I think he won't die in this lane anymore. I think he's okay. He's okay.
But he shouldn't be just okay with all the time invested, right? He should actually be a win condition. Instead, he's now a little bit of a weak point, which after 2 ganks in the top lane is really not what you want to expect, would expect there. So it's not the greatest situation ever. On the flip side, Stark is also not in the greatest situation either. He's Renekton. It hasn't accelerated too much, so. But there's a dive coming.
Ooh,
And
this
now
is
TP.
very bad. This is going to be all 5 members of Flash appearing in a Flash, but Lisa actually navigating his way out of this one. Goes
Stark.
gold. Can he keep going? No, he finally goes down, but he died for Big Coro. Stark went low, but that was a tower with a lot of tower plates going over to Flash. Puts them back in a pretty firm gold lead. I say firm. It's 2K at 14 minutes. It's not bad.
It's still a 3k gold swing. They were actually
That's
almost
true.
1k behind. So 2 to 3k gold swing from just one very nicely executed play. There's a little bit of set play as well. They teleported Stark with his teleport advantage down. The reaction for percent was almost in time. Only Lisa going down. So still nice play from both teams. I think this was not so much.
Ooh, a lot of damage being dealt to Yi-Jin. And there's the Leona ult. They're turning this one around. And 𝗏𝗏𝗺 is 𝗏𝗏𝗺. He's 0-2.
Feels bad, man. 𝗏𝗏𝗺 being subbed in. And he's playing his heart out. I feel like 𝗏𝗏𝗺 has played a great game with nice hooks. And he's just there to facilitate kills.
They just should be playing all.
Come
It's
on.
ridiculous.
Oh, go away.
Results-based analysis. Oh, but up in the top lane, speaking of results, YT starts us off with a cyclone, and now all the boys are here as the bonking stick spins very, very quick, and Lisa came all the way up and didn't even get an assist.
And I love Wukong. Watching Wukong is so fun. That champ is so cool. I'm so glad we finally have Wukong in our games.
The one thing I want to have changed is because instead of just his normal sound effect when he ults, of just like him like being happy, it should add like the sound of when you get a stick and run it through like along a fence of like because it's just his stick whacking. It's just his stick whacking into the enemy champion.
I can know that. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of weird item builds, we didn't really speak of weird item builds, but whatever.
Speaking of weird items.
Look at Stark.
Yeah, okay. He's going Bork second.
Bork second after losing his lane, continuously getting ganked. That is a peculiar choice. He will melt in teamfights in a matter of milliseconds.
That could be a death dance, though. I think that's a death dance.
It's a dagger, though.
I don't know what the dagger's for.
Yeah, I think the dagger. Oh, the flash of
Stark. He takes a bit of damage, but he's going to cut Glory up. Oh, never mind. Glory's getting away. Yi-Jin's arrived. Glory just saying, I'm going to take this wave while I wait. He's trying to turn it around. There's no unleashed power, though. Does he have a team on the way? No, his team's not coming. Glory is just going to be sent to the grave. He flashes the B emote, quality emote. God, I love that emotes are allowed now.
Yeah.
If
These are the best emotes.
If one good thing came out of coronavirus, it's that emotes are now allowed in professional League of Legends.
I agree.
Because they're great.
So, once again, it's a very, very much a Fields Batman for the top laner, because Stark actually caught him. He invested his ultimate, he invested his flash, had the solo kill ready, and then the call came from Flash. Nah, we need the gold on our jungler. Give it to Yi-Jin. Yi-Jin is our carry. And Stark was like, nah, I don't want to. Well, he was forced to. Now Yi-Jin is sitting on 3-1. So maybe he can actually do something with this Grace. He has lost to the shopkeeper, though. Once again, this itemization choice. Your top laner built this item for you. Why are you following suit? Why are you going for Black Cleaver as well?
Super autopilot stuff. It's just not efficient. Like, Renekton is already shredding their armor. Just build lethality. You do more damage. It's already better. I don't like it. You do absolutely hate to see it. It's just inefficient. Come on, where's the Leandries? We know it's the best item in the game.
Actually, something people build on Grace last item or something.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if someone did the math and it was actually just really good.
It's very, very good on Ezreal last item, especially if you go frozen
Gangplank as
fist.
well. Gangplank as well.
Yeah, very nice on gameplay. It's cool.
I like those kind of things.
Mando, last item on Mando. If you're tanky enough,
and
just the damage.
speaking of, I don't know how to segue that one. As 𝗏𝗏 gets knocked up after 𝗏𝗏 took a lot of damage, shockingly owner ult there out of 𝗬𝗏, but 𝗏𝗏 is still alive somehow. He finally goes down to Big 𝗏𝗏.
It's dark.
Chunks about 1 million mystic shots into him before he finally goes down.
Great champion. Look at this crocodile. He's
doing so much. He's absolutely staring them down. I don't actually think Renekton. I think that Renekton means dead. He's actually pretty good at the moment. You just have to build 𝗏𝗏.
I still hate him. He's a little bit better, but his scaling is still a little bit of a problem. He's very strong in side lanes, especially with walk, and if you can dominate your matchup, but this is not the case here, and Renekton is not really a champion anymore. Percent is still only up 300 gold, so it's a close call, but it feels more like Percent has already won the game, right? Do you feel like Flash is close to winning this?
No, I do not. This is all of the tempo in favor of Percent. Maybe it's just that we're a little bit caught off guard by how close they are, but still, you can't take it away.
Play here.
They're the ones calling the shots at the moment. That's what surprises me. Like, Percent had a chance to win, but I thought it would be based off Flash botching things. I don't think Flash is botching things. Percent is just making good calls.
And Flash has committed to the Grace 2 games in a row. And it's really hurting their ability to team fight from the jungle position. He's super strong, but he's not doing anything. I think all the X are once again in Slater's basket, and he needs to carry his team. He's on 2 items. He's close to his Muramana transform, and once he hits that, he might be able to kill the backline. Though, that being said, Ezreal, of course, adapted his build and is this time around going armor, so that's hard to cut through for the side of Slater.
Yeah, for sure. It's not super easy, but it is definitely still possible. This game is not over. It's so weird how it feels like Percent is winning, because they're not. They're 600 gold down.
They are gold down, but who cares about gold, honestly? Gold is not that important here. Let's look at what the team comps actually want to do. We have very, very strong backline for Percent that is hard to catch. Do you experience
this is
the
a
same
fight there for sure, as 𝗏𝗏 is dead, and now Flash is charging forward. They're getting a lot done, but the Cyclone's being used. They're going to turn this one around. It's currently a 2-for-2. Can YT get it done? Big 𝗏𝗏's arrived. 𝗏𝗏 on the run, but the next E from Wukong will clean him up, no question. It's a triple kill. The monkey's having a great time, but he won't get over the wall. Stark tries to turn it around, take down Eagle. He succeeds. Very well played there. Can he get over the wall? He can. Makes it a 3-for-3. A messy, sloppy engage. And Big 𝗏𝗏 doesn't want to let it go quite yet. I don't know if you're going to catch a Renekton, and he knows the same. Gets out of there. What a messy fight, but it's a 3-for-3.
Well, I didn't get to see the fight because my internet just decided to not let me show not show the VCS to me. So you have to fill me in on what actually happened. What are the repercussions from the side or the
Well, here's the replay, so you can figure it out as we go. It was Percent trying to start us off. 𝗏𝗏 turned it around. Lots of CC. Slater being able to join in from long range. Look at the damage in the backline. You absolutely love to see it. Without 𝗏𝗏, they lacked a little bit of damage, but then a cheeky monkey came in and made sure it was all okay. And in the end, it was just a bit of a weird cleanup, but it was a 3-for-3.
Triple kill for YT, so he is now very strong. Oh, but the Dragon are now on live feed, going over to Flash. So we are still in a very tense situation. No Dragon point or soul point secured for either side. 2 Dragons each. So Dragon is not going to be the main objective in this game. You can, of course, still get to soul at like 40 minutes if you play around Dragon. But it's not going to be the game decider. At that point, Soul is kind of outscaled, even if that sounds weird. I really believe Soul, especially Ocean Soul, kind of gets outscaled in the late game by other big bursts.
I don't think it does by this comp, though. 𝗚𝗺ry will still be able to blow someone up. Oh, and Yijin has been found. Goodbye, son. Graves living up to his name as he's dug quite a few of them for himself. YT uses the second half of Cyclone. That is now gone. They're on a very weird side of the map. 𝗬𝗲 doing a lot of disruption, but goes down. Showstopper used to bring it back around. 𝗃𝗏𝗏 smacking the true damage through a couple of people, but Big Koro is unstoppable. He's flying. Shut down for YT. He gets 2. That is a big, big monkey. You can even say he's a big gorilla, and they're heading off to Baron.
Yep. And that might just be the nail in the coffin for the whole series here. It's still only 2k gold lead, but the team fights are not looking anything close. So yeah, 𝗀 in a very good situation here. Big Koro is already unkillable, and I don't think he has even completed his death dance. 𝗀𝗀ry very hard to catch as well, even though they invested 𝗬𝗀𝗺's ultimate here. The Baron will open up some of the inhibitors, and the counter siege for 𝗏lash's side is not looking too strong either, so no 𝗏lash for 𝗁𝗏 either to initiate that one. This Baron, in my opinion, should lead to at least one inhibitor cracked, and then 𝗀 can just play through a second Baron and finish the game. But let's look at the replay. Yeah, Yijin just scored. There's not much to say about his skill, but focus your eyes on 𝗬𝗏r and his ultimate. It's actually still up after the fight. He had no opportunity to use his ultimate. 𝗬𝗏r, 1Q.
He very clearly doesn't want to fight.
He had 1 or 2 auto attacks on 𝗬𝗏r. And this re-engage for 𝗁𝗏 was actually very, very good. But 𝗬𝗏r did not take the opportunity, just walks away, did not use his ult all fight. So no, he's the biggest carry, but no time for that.
We're back to live. It looked like a replay because it was the exact same spot, but Big Koro's got another one. 𝗬𝗏r trying to get away, fails the flash. Come on, 𝗬𝗏r, you're better than that. You're tearing me apart, 𝗬𝗏r. But Wukong gets a kill 2 for 1, and it's only a support for 𝗀. They are looking very, very likely to take this one. 𝗏lash. What a game day this would be if they win this game, by the way.
Well, we came in today and we're like, the scheduling is a little bit weird. Why do we start with the 2 bottom of the table teams? Yeah, joke's on us. Those teams are not the bottom of the table teams, it seems. At least.
Look, we just recognized our audience. Like, we know the Vietnamese audience really likes that _𝗀𝗏 guy who always gets it wrong. So we just did that. We just got it wrong on purpose. No, this is very surprising. And we did say, in our pregame, we said that there are 6 teams in the VCS that all could win the title. And the 2 that probably can't win the title aren't bad. They're just not amazing. Well, they're not bad. And they're engaging once again. And it's just a kill on Yijin. God damn. They watched our pre-show and said, right, let's make Yulwei look really smart by Graves just hard hinting. But they are turning it around. YT takes a lot of damage. Look at the Trundle in the front line. Eagle was just standing there bonking people. And 𝗀𝗺ry teaming up with 𝗬𝗏. And what a story. And they get more kills. Oh my God, 𝗀 is going to beat 𝗏lash.
Yeah, this is the end of the game. They have Baron still. They have a super minion to tank. No damage left on the side of 𝗏lash. No flash even on 𝗁𝗏. Star can try something here, but I don't feel like he can really. Oh, yeah, no. 𝗁𝗁𝗏. No. There's a nice little back now on the made out of a Stark, but this is 2-0 for 𝗀.
That was incredibly impressive. That was very, very good by 𝗀. They've just beaten the Spring Split champs.
Wow.
Current top of the table is 𝗀 and OPG.
The 2-0.
What just happened today?
That is... Wow. Is that just 𝗏lash looking bad? Or is 𝗀a very good team? I actually feel like they played... This series as a whole was higher quality than the first one. First one was a little bit iffy. Yeah. But 𝗀 took all the mistakes 𝗏lash made, and they definitely made some mistakes here, not only in draft, but also in game. But they capitalized so hard and immediately finished the games. Game 2, the finish was Baron, 1 push, 1 team fight, game is over. That is incredible.
That was extremely good. There's not much else to say. It was brilliant. Wow. Okay, VCS is going to be really good this split.
Yeah, we started with the 2 teams we were not too excited about, and they came out victorious today. So now, do we have 8 good teams in this league? Do we actually get to see a competitive series between every single game, every single team here?
We'll have to find out. It's only day one. Don't want to get invested.
Very fair.
VGA won their first series as well, and Flash lost their first series last split as well. So don't go too far. But it is a very promising start for these two bottom teams. Now, we do need to say MVP of game 2. And then we do have our player of the series. So who's your MVP for game 2?
Ooh, that's a very difficult one. That was a big team effort.
It was. I think it's 𝗬𝗃, personally. I think the Wukong was fantastic.
Yeah.
He won them team.
He made some pretty big mistakes, but he also still brought all the kills home. So yeah.
It's him or 𝗀𝗃, in my opinion.
Yeah. I can see 𝗬𝗃. I think 𝗬𝗃 is a very fair choice. And overall series MVP?
𝗀𝗃.
𝗀𝗃? Yeah.
It's got to be Big 𝗀𝗃.
Big 𝗀𝗃 played very well in both games. I agree.
Yeah. Big 𝗀𝗃 had fantastic stats in both games. He was very close to getting MVP both times, just kind of pipped at the post. But because it wasn't Glory twice or 𝗬𝗃 twice, you've got to give it to Big 𝗀𝗃. It was weird when he said he was going to %. Caught us off guard, but
absolutely.
Looks like a pretty big brain play at the moment.
Yeah, and think about it. Top lane and ADC are 2 veteran players. 𝗬𝗃 and Big 𝗀𝗃 have played for years and years. Big 𝗀𝗃 is the champion of the league. 𝗬𝗃 went to Worlds before as well. So the macro that was shown today may be a result of those 2 players working together with coaching staff and the newer players.
For sure.
I was very impressed with how cleanly they closed out and how decisively they looked for fights to end the game in both games.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Wasn't even intentional. Well, it has been a fantastic night 1 of VCS. God, I'm happy to be back. I've missed the VCS. I've missed casting. I hope all of you out there enjoyed it as well. Do have a look down below the stream. There is a Discord link. You should click on it. Come join our community. There's Twitter, Facebook, all that kind of thing. Come join our social media. We have a really excellent team that puts out content. It's not just us. It's a lot of people. I want to thank again Spoods for doing production tonight. All the graphics and stuff, particularly the pre-show. I want to shout that out, as well as 𝗙𝗃 from the Discord helped heaps, getting a lot of B-roll and stuff. Thank you guys. It makes the show so much better, and I'm sure everyone noticed the improvement. So, but with that, that's it for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow.
The first day. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with some very exciting games. Game of the week, or match of the week, I should say. Yeah. Second series tomorrow, EVOS against 𝗀𝗃. Definitely mark that in your calendars.
If you thought these games were good, these were the worst games of the week when we looked at the schedule. We said these are probably going to be the worst games. Not that any game's bad, but there are good and there are better and bad. I don't know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I lost it. But tomorrow is going to be even better. We have some amazing teams, some really exciting new rosters. Be there or be rectangle. My name's Everyday. With me has been Yulwei. And we'll be off for tonight. Thank you for joining us. See you tomorrow. Don't miss it.
See you.